I started in sports at a young age. My dad and my uncle both played fast pitch softball. And so I was at the ballpark with them every single day, every weekend, at night, whole 9 yards. Watching them play all the time, and it looked like fun. So next thing I know, where we lived, out towards Port Vincent, there was no baseball. So I actually did not start playing baseball until I was 13 years old. We moved to Denham Springs, and I got on the team that the judge had sponsored here, Kenny Fogg and that group, and called City Club Clippers. That's the first team I've ever played baseball for. I had lots of mentors. I had Coach Dwayne Bailey, was probably the roughest I've run across. Very demanding, but I also probably learned more from him than most because he taught me how to get myself in shape, how to play the game hard, do the best you could, and to understand that baseball is more failure than it is success. So you have to be able to live with that, and that's not easy to do. Freshman year, pretty much scared to death, honestly, because everybody was so much older than me. This was all junior, senior ball club. I was the only freshman on it, so it was a little bit nervous. Didn't know what to expect, but I had the confidence in myself that I could play as well, so I did. The guys that I played with made it fun, no doubt about it. We had a lot of fun. We got along well. Everybody pulled for each other. Not like, some other teams where, I hope this guy strikes out and I hope this guy don't get a hit so I can take his place. And we didn't have that. We never did. And we had competition against each other, but never wish for anybody to fail. And that's how we played the game. So I had a lot of help during that year. I got a lot of credit for a lot of things a lot of people did. So it was a full team effort. Managed to pitch really well. You can't do it by yourself. It takes a lot of people and a lot of help. You have to have a supporting cast in order to get this done. Nobody does it by themselves. It's a team game. So I ended up the end of the season with an 11-4 record. All kinds of strikeouts, very few walks. Had a really, really good year. Closest that we'd ever been to a state baseball championship in Eunice. That's probably the saddest moment. All these guys that worked so hard to get there, and then it was gone in a second. It was over, done. We got beat 3-1. As time went on, believe it or not, all of us guys got together and ended up playing fast pitch softball together in the last years after college and all that. So we played probably another 5 to 7 years together. In the senior season, sustained a knee injury. Actually was taking the lead off first base. They hit a line drive. I had already started to go to second. Next thing I know, I stopped real quick and knee buckled under me. That was it. It took about probably month and a half with a brace to actually get back to playing on the field again. Ended up playing shortstop, hit the ball pretty well, so it worked out for us. And that's, after that, went on to sign with Southeastern. That didn't work out too well there because I ended up having to have knee surgery later on during the year. So I skipped the 1981-82 set. Weren't able to play college. Of course, by then it's, now what am I gonna do? Couldn't give up the game, like it too much. Couldn't let it go. So kind of shopped around a little bit here and there. Had some areas to walk on and that kind of stuff. And then I actually had a couple of friends back in the Babe Ruth baseball days that played at Delgado Junior College in New Orleans. And I actually called him and He's like, man, I'm gonna call and talk to the coach for you. He said, let me see what I can do. I said, okay. Lo and behold, he called. Asked me if I could come try out, and I'm like, I absolutely will. And I went down there and tried out, and ended up getting a scholarship. Didn't have to pay for anything. Life was good. Played there for 2 years. Built up a few accolades there, not a whole lot, but some. And then turned around and left from there and went to Southeastern for a year. When Southeastern gave me the opportunity to come here, I ended up in the pitching ranks. And I mean, you know, NCAA college baseball, so you're labeled as a pitcher, you're labeled as a pitcher. We weren't hitting the ball very much, this, that, and you know, we pitched well, but we weren't hitting the baseball, we weren't scoring a lot of runs. And I kind of passed by the bat cage, and at that point, I had Coach John Stevenson, who was New York Mets catcher bullpen guy, so knew a lot about the game. And he's like, I passed over and I said, Coach, I can hit. He said, he just kind of threw me off, and come back a little bit later, and then he passed. We were doing batting practice again, and pitchers didn't hit. Like I said, they wouldn't let it happen. So he come back by and he said, you can hit? I'm like, yes sir, I can. And then after that, I started pitching, and when I wasn't pitching, I was doing a DH position. Believe it or not, I have definitely came and watched some baseball at Denham Springs High School, for sure. I like the game, period. And it doesn't matter. I live in Central, and I watch them in Central. I watch matchups. I like the game. There's so much more opportunity today than we had back then. I'm very happy, extremely proud, very honored. Accolades was never my reason. Like I said, I played more for fun and had great teammates, a lot of help that, you know, I wouldn't have happened had I not had them. I mean, I'm very proud to have been chosen. First of all, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee. I'd like to thank my parents who had to drive me to most of it. We had good rapport between the coaches I had. I mean, I didn't ever have a bad coach. Nothing handed to you, and didn't want it to be handed. Worked to get it, but thanks to everybody that thought enough of me to definitely put my name into the selection, and then to be actually voted in is wonderful.